32 minutes.
Camera on with the way. What?
அவங்க அப்படி வச்சுட்டே தான் வராங்க. சரி அவனுக்கு நம்ம
என்னடா
On behalf of organizing committee, I welcome all the participants. Please switch off your video and audio throughout the session. Please do not present or share your screen. Please share your question in the chat box. Kindly ensure that you fill the attendance form, which will be shared in the chat box at the end of the session. Dear participant, kindly mute your audio and turn off your video. Thank you. Hello. Yes, sir. Sir, shall we start the program, sir? Sir, Srinivas Raghavan, sir. Shall we start the program, sir, or wait for 5 more minutes, sir? Dear participants, kindly do not share your screen. Please switch off your audio and video. Please mute your audio and turn off your video. Do not present or share your screen. Sir, shall we start the program, sir? Srinivas Raghavan, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Sir, your voice is not audible. Sandhamil Madam voice audible.
Okay.
But
Sir, your voice is
sir, your voice is not audible. Sir,
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
sir, your voice not coming out. Still not coming, sir. Still not coming. Sir, your voice not coming, sir.
Dear participants, kindly do not share the screen. Dear participants, kindly do not share your screen. Do not present your screen. Please switch off your video and audio throughout the session. Sir has some technical problem, I think.
Sir, your voice not coming through the microphone also.
Now it is audible.
Now it's okay, sir. It's good actually. Now it's okay.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma. Is it okay?
Yes, audible, sir. Yes, your voice is audible, sir. Shall we start the program, sir? Sir?
Yeah, madam. Definitely we can start.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Prakash Maurya, you don't present
Prakash Maurya, don't present it.
Don't
Prakash,
click the present
don't
now.
click the present now.
Good morning, all. I am happy to welcome you all to the second day one-week webinar on knowledge, access and sharing, tools and technologies for higher academic research, organized by the Department of Library Information Science, Bardhasan University, and PG Department of Library Information Science, Holy Cross College, Trichy, and jointly with the University of Jaffna, Library University of Jaffna, Sri Lanka. Now I invite Dr. Srinivas Raghavan, sir, Webinar Director, Professor and Head, Department of Library and Information Science, Bharatdasan University, brief about today's proceedings. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma. Thank you very much.
Good morning to all the distinguished faculty members, research scholars, and participants. I can see many of the senior librarians like AM Iravalan and many other people. And I also welcome the coordinators, Dr. Selvi, Dr. Bala, and Dr. Divya Janan, Shanmunathan, and many other friends, Kalpana Vedam from Jaffna University for the second day. I am very happy to really have Mrs. Srimurugan as today's speaker, and no need of making any the introduction to him. Sir, my salutation to you, sir, on this Teachers' Day, and I am happy to announce that today is his 73rd birthday, and we all need to have his blessings as a senior tall teacher of this country, and just casually called him in the morning, and then only come to know. So, sir, we all need your blessings, sir, and we pray the Almighty that He shower all His grace on you and your family to have a very happy and prolonged life, so that we can get your expertise for quite long time. So, Professor Srimurugan, sir, is more than 3 decades. He is a very sincere teacher, committed teacher. Just like Gurukul, all students we used to learn from him, and he's the classics, the early years teaching practices and learning practices, and the classics of LIS, the classics of other research concepts to the modern technological advancements. So he always update himself, and in our Bharati, Madurai Kamaraj University, among the many departments other than these life sciences and chemistry and physics, the first computer introduced by my HOD, my guide, Dr. Daniel Chandran. He is also visionary leader, and Professor Srimurugan was the faculty at that time, and we a lot of programs, and even 89, 88 itself using the systems and the databases. He used to give the projects to the students. In that way, he always update. So I'm very happy, and anyway, Professor Shanmunathan is going to moderate, and he will introduce Professor Srimurugan's presentation. We all will enjoy, and I request all the participants, particularly the early career faculty members, early career researchers and scholars, you please keenly attend. Another one session also, that is dynamic guy, and Pradeepan. He's also did his education at the University of Madras, and he's also going to travel, and such a surprising guy. So he'll also make a good presentation. So yesterday also we had a very good response, more than 1,500 registration, and by this Google Meet as well as through that YouTube. I don't know about Telegram, and we could get more than near 450, 470 attendance, the live attendance, and really it was encouraging, and our acknowledgement should go to the Vice Chancellor to permit all of us to conduct this program. I also greet all my guides, and because want of time, just don't want to take much time. Now I am handing over. Professor Srimurugan sir has come. Sir, welcome, sir. Good morning, sir. Yeah, your audio is not audible, sir. You can just, sir, I just wanted to have your, sir.
This is audible, Dr. Srinivasarao?
Now it is audible, sir. Very much audible, sir.
Very good. Good morning and welcome to you all.
No, sir. Please, sir. Sir, there will be a moderator, Jaffna University, and they will only start the presentation. I just need to have your blessings, sir. And this your birthday. More happy returns of the day, sir.
Thank you.
Many more happy returns of the day, sir.
Thank you very much for all your
Now it is over to Shanmunathan. Now happy birthday, sir. And Shanmunathan is a professional. Very sincere, calm and quiet. I could witness him during conference which they have convened immediately after that Silva proceedings. Bhavani also one of the prominent, important we may not forget in our history and the culture. So he is coming from Bhavani campus. I also welcome Mr. Shanmunathan. It is over to you. And the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good morning, you all. This is actually 1 week international webinar on knowledge access and sharing, tools and technologies for higher academic research. The technical session, the second day technical session. Today there are two speakers. First, Professor A. Sri Murugan, Professor and Head, formerly Department of Library and Information Science, Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai. And the second speaker, Dr. T. Pradeepan, Acting Librarian, Uvavelasa University, Sri Lanka. So there are two speakers. First, I introduce Professor A. Sri Murugan. Professor A. Sri Murugan, former Head of Department, Library and Information Science. He was a teacher for more than 30 years and retired in 2007 at the age of 60. He was holding additional charge as a university librarian at the same time for about a period of 11 years, ending with 2007. He introduced a price-tagged bibliographic information service that earned around rupees 7 lakhs for the Madurai University Library between 2003 and 2006. And the same found a note of appreciation by NAC as best practice in their report in 2006. He has 2 books and a few articles to his credit. One of his articles appeared in the official organ of the British Standards Institute on automatic index for the universal decimal classification in 1998. He was a good freelance platform speaker. He served in the editorial board of selective Indian journals. His areas of interest have been scientometric, Manley, and the reference manager. He has delivered speeches to scholars in various universities. Today, his birthday, he is 73 years old. On behalf of the University of Jaffna and Sri Lanka Library Professional, we wish you all happy birthday today. Happy birthday, sir. And this is over to you. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you, Professor Janan.
Okay.
Hope I can start now, Srinivas Raghavan. Good morning and welcome to you all. I dedicate this lecture to late Professor M.R. Kumbar, Karnataka University. I'm indebted to Dr. C.R. Karsidappa. I dedicate this lecture to Karnataka University, my mentor, Kumbar, and Dr. Sitaram. Former Professor of DRTs, Dr. C.R. Karsidappa. Today's talk of Karnataka University, my mentor, Kumbar, and research quality versus technology. Former Professor of DRTs, Dr. C.R. Karsidappa. Today's I had a discussion with Dr. Srinivas Raghavan and research quality versus technology. Former Professor of DRTs. Audible to you? Yes, I had a discussion with Dr. Srinivas. I had a discussion with Dr. Srinivas Raghavan. Research quality versus technology. Perhaps sound technical or difficult to me. I had a discussion with Srinivas Raghavan. I have talked more on quality versus technology and technology. But this title is a little weak. I had a discussion actually. When I was searching the net for research quality, and perhaps I came across some information on quality research, and very few on research quality. When I was searching the net for research quality, somehow, perhaps I came across research as quality improves and very carrier to the academics. When I was searching the net for in all the disciplines, somehow, in all the disciplines, I came across research as is research a cakewalk or a nightmare? To some it is a nightmare, to many it is a cakewalk. When I entered as a staff in the university library, I came across people working on their PhD for more than 4, 5, 6 years. Perhaps very rare where audible? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. It is very much audible, sir. Visible, sir. No problem, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I came across, people who were working for more than 4 years, very normally. But today, we could see people finishing their PhD, submitting their report at the end of 3 years promptly. Anyone who goes up to the public 5 perhaps, came out definitely 100% with their PhD degree. But they come across a number of impediments at the various levels of their research process. Whereas the conventional format for a PhD research in India is, comprises of the following: identification of a topic, getting it approved by the research committee, and then starting the research work under the guideship of a professor in a university. Well, the report comprises of normally in convention 5 chapters. Chapter 1, introduction. Chapter 2, review of literature. Chapter 3, methodology. Chapter 4, data analysis and interpretation. Chapter 5, findings, conclusion, suggestions. And there will be 2 unnumbered chapters like the bibliography appended at the end, and then the appendix if there is any. This is the convention in India. Perhaps, slight changes are there between departments within a university and changes among universities in general. And we have been retaining the format given by the British educators to us. We have not changed, but actually in foreign countries, take for example the United States, in a PhD report, the first chapter happens to present the findings, the first chapter. It presents the findings and then only proceeds to the methodology, the definition of the concept and other things, and it goes on. They don't make the reader wait with anxiety to read the conclusion. Conclusion, findings, other things, usually we put it at the end. Actually, they have brought it forward actually. This is the difference. Well, a topic is carefully chosen. It is worded carefully with relevant terms. And the bibliography, every research starts with the bibliography and ends with the bibliography. I have given talks on how to write a research article, how to publish a research article, how to write a research report, and all these things. I have given many talks actually. Many people, many scholars used to come to me, with their question how to write, how to present a research report. I used to tell them the fundamental requirement is before you decide to start your research career, you should read more. You should read more. That is why I always quote Francis Bacon, of whose quotation many of us remember the first line, and unfortunately we do not care to look at the second and third lines of Francis Bacon. All these 3 lines are exclusively concerned with research and research writing. Well, in all the universities all over the world, they have a prescribed set of norms right from the choice of a topic to the submission of a research work, research report. But unfortunately, so far, my experience is concerned, perhaps many research scholars whom I came across would not have seen the norms or would not have the least knowledge that every university has prescribed norms and standards for proceeding with the research work. In case they open the file in the website of universities, and there may not be a chance for asking such questions as how to format the bibliography and other things. there are certain tools and techniques actually in aid to the scholar for completing successfully his research career. Unfortunately, many do not open the net to put questions to the Google actually. They go for information harvesting, collecting materials relevant to their research topic, but the peripheral area, like, how to format a bibliography, how to write actually, how to report, how to analyze and interpret, all these things, perhaps, there is a lot of help besides their own guide. There is a lot of help available totally free actually on the Google Scholar. One can go and get sufficient guidance from them. Actually, academic research in, at least in Indian universities, at least in the universities in Tamil Nadu and neighboring states actually, they are continuing on a traditional path with a few hundreds or few thousands of collected data, and then using SPSS, analyzing and interpreting and reporting. When I was discussing with Dr. Srinivasa Raghavan, what is the contribution of a research scholar in a report of 5 chapters? For the review of literature, he is consulting or she is consulting a number of published works. There are secondary articles as review of every concept that has been researched already and published actually. So it is almost, I won't say cut and paste, but reading and selecting relevant materials to the concerned topic and then presenting them in an organized, classified manner, and draw actually, inferences regarding the methodologies to be followed and various other, procedures to be adopted in the research process of an individual scholar. So, review of literature, well, the source is there. Definitely, today with a lot of big databases of periodicals, primary periodical databases, secondary periodical databases. Well, the scholar is at his free will to get all the materials in no time, I would say, provided he knows how to query, how to forward his query to the internet. That is what I would say. Well, here I remember, from my own experience, that was during, say, about 71, 72, Dr. Siva Subramanian, the retired Vice Chancellor, was a research scholar. Was a very young man actually, perhaps of my own age. He used to visit the Madurai University Library regularly. And at that time, I was, as a novice, I was there at the periodicals section. He used to come, he came to me one day straight and said, Sri Murugan, I want you to arrange these chemical abstract volumes. Chemical abstracts, perhaps I do not know how many of you would have seen. It is a paperback running to about a few hundreds of pages printed on very light paper materials, manifold sheet-like. It used to be very much fluid in structure, and it is very difficult to make it stand on the shelves. Now, Dr. Siva Subramanian, the first work he did visiting the university library, because I had an opportunity to walk along with him in his research pursuit, right from the early days of his registration, PhD registration. He came and sat for 2 months at least in organizing all the volumes of chemical abstracts there in the periodical section of the Madurai University Library. Then, I was wondering, thousands and thousands of abstracts. That was the biggest printed database for a single subject during those days. Nowadays, you get, perhaps for medical literature, from, biology and all, biomedical literature, you've got bigger databases. But in those days actually, well, chemical abstracts was the single biggest database. And I could watch him for some time before I was transferred to some other section at the university library. But even today, I admire and still wonder the efforts that he was putting into locate the pieces of information that he wanted. Today's research scholar is, the technology comes to his help to a greater extent, Actually, during the days of Dr. Sivasubramanian or during the 70s or 80s, scholars were spending 3/4 of their time at the laboratories and or in the fields, and 25% only at the library, because they were not assured whatever they wanted, the literature they wanted were not, met by, the total need was not met by a single university library. They had to travel from place to place, sometimes even up to Delhi to collect their literature. Technology, today has solved all those problems actually. The technology provides a lot of time to the scholars to work. And I believe that why should we continue to give 3 years for a research scholar to finish his PhD? Because technology plays such a dominant role in assisting the scholar, right from the choice of a topic to, correcting his report and formatting his bibliography, everything, authoring tools are many in number actually today. Perhaps, a lot of developments over this MS Word. Perhaps LaTeX is one software, that helps science scholars as well as social science scholars in using formulae and other things in their graph, all those things. That provides a better alternative to MS Word, though many of the scholars I know have been continuing to work with the MS Word, which, actually even Mendeley also provides an addition to your Mendeley main software, this MS Word only for formatting your report or formatting your bibliographic part of your report. So, well, I think that perhaps 1.5 years is more than enough for a scholar today with all these technology assistance to start and complete his PhD. If a scholar visits the University of Minnesota Library website, there is one assignment calculator. It gives 12 steps actually. It is asking you the date of commencement of your research work and the probable date of closing your research or submitting your PhD report. And then it is asking your subject, specific subject field. Then 12 steps it explains, starting from the preparation of a basic bibliography. So in that column, in case you do not know anything about a bibliography or how to compile it, it provides a beautiful tutorial how to compile what is a bibliography, what are the different types of a bibliography, and how to compile a bibliography. Research assignment calculator. University librarians are at their free will to copy the website and even put it in a portal in their library website. That facility also is available there. Actually, when I was the university librarian here at Madurai Kamaraj University, I had just copied the website and then put it in our portal. I do not know what happened to it now. I do not know. So it gives you the date also. Suppose you start compiling your bibliography, it tells you what should be the date you should complete this first step. And for every step in your research process, it provides you a rough estimated date actually. This is the date you are starting. You should start the second step, complete your second step on this date. In case you have forgotten your research assignment calculator file, and then after some time, after a month or 2 or 3 or 4, you come back again to open your research assignment calculator, you write your name, it opens the file and tells you, oh, you have missed this much of time. Come on again, type the date of your commencement and the step you have chosen, select it. Again, it rearranges the dates, even if it is going to be 6 months for the completion of your, even if it is the 6 months only for the completion of your date of research reporting. It arranges the dates in such a way. This is a tool available for all research scholars. Either you can open the file there itself in the University of Minnesota Library, or you can just copy and put it in your own, the university library website. It is there. And then, review of literature, of course, you get a lot of literature. The process that we call to collect your reviews, is information harvesting. What you need is, you have to, when you start your research, these are all to make your research a quality-based one. When you start your research, you have to go for a write-up, for one page at least. Try to tell yourself what exactly is the nature and scope of the topic that you are going to investigate, okay? And then, you frame a set of keywords. You should have a keyword string. Whenever you go for information harvesting or information search in Google Scholar or any other periodical or bibliographical database, you have to use any one of these terms, and then, just to modify a little, according to the information kits that you receive. Perhaps you will get better keywords from the literature that you hit upon on the internet. And then you see methodology, when you go through, when you collect relevant reviews and then organize them under classified areas. Perhaps, for introduction, you may be having introduction, definition, scope, all these things, the preliminaries of the concepts involved in your research topic, and then, the methodologies, and then, the hypotheses, what hypotheses have been formulated, what are the methods that they are adopting, they have adopted to test each of the hypotheses. All these things you can infer from the literature you have read and collected. If you have collected a relevant literature, perhaps you don't need to go anybody for guidance except your guide or your colleague. You can just confirm whether you are correct or you need some modifications in all those things. And you have collected, and now you sit for writing. As a matter of fact, as I know, if you use Mendeley, the reference manager, which is totally free of cost, today you register your name, open mendeley.com and register your name, and then, you define your research interest. It is going to connect to all the scholars all over the world, who are having a similar topic of investigation with them. Whatever they search and then store in their file, perhaps when you open your file and go to the Mendeley, site, you are going to have access to those documents searched and downloaded by the scholars in your group. So it is going to put you in an appropriate group, which also will be having the same interest like that. So whenever you search, go for a Google search actually, if you are a registered member in Mendeley, or ResearchGate is one more web actually facility available to you. You register there. When you search the Google Scholar, an additional entry shall appear, Mendeley or ResearchGate. Now, when you go to ResearchGate, you are free to download, even from licensed periodical databases. That advantages you have. So you have to you are no
problem. Proceed.
So, there are advantages when you register, when you become a registered member in Mendeley, Mendeley, okay, and then ResearchGate and LinkedIn or some of the groups, web groups in which you have to become a member, and you reap a number of benefits because of your membership. And then when you sit to write, actually, when you register for Mendeley, you open 5 or 6 files in Mendeley, one for introduction, one for review of literature, one for methodology, one for analysis and interpretation, one for findings and conclusion. You just when you come across kits, directly take a file into the introduction folder. If it is concerned with review of literature, even you can classify at the saving level itself. That is the advantage of Mendeley. Okay, and then like this you can download and go into that. And remember, if you use Mendeley, it provides you an interoperable search. Suppose, you have got 100 files, stored in 5 different folders. You give a search term in Mendeley, it is going to open all the folders. Suppose you search by author, wherever the author occurs in a PDF file, or in any type of non-editable file, it is going to search all the 100 or 500 articles you have stored, and it is going to present the list. You can open one by one, and then you can find. Suppose you remember you have read a citation, a few sentences as statement to be quoted as citation. You have forgotten the source. Any particular keyword or the concept name you type, it is going to present the list of articles which contain that specific technical term or concept name to your perusal, and you can open very easily. You find, when you use Mendeley, you select a few sentences, and then you are taking it to your Word file, saving it. It is going to bring the citation along with bibliographical details. That improves the quality. That improves the quality of your research reporting, your research itself. And finally, perhaps when you collect citations, each paper would have followed a specific style according to the prescription of a particular journal. So you have collected, say, about 250 citations. The references or the bibliographies of which are just jumbled according to different style manuals. So what you do is, when you use that Word attached file to Mendeley, that is in the main menu. You see, Mendeley is there, references. You just click that drop down references menu. It is going to present 122 style manuals. When I last saw, the number was 122. So Chicago style manual, which is more than 150 years old, perhaps it has all the 4 different styles of Chicago style manual. So just to choose that particular specific style manual you want your bibliographic format to be, just to click it, because for bibliography you collect data for about 8 or 9 fields depending upon the form of publication. It may be a research report, it may be PhD, it may be periodical article, it may be a white paper, or it may be a technical report. Whatever be the format, it is good, because you would have already collected all the required 8 or 9 fields, okay? And just clicking off the style manual of your preference, it is going to automatically, by the wink of an eye, it takes that much time only, flicker of a second, it converts all the bibliographic different formats into the format that you have chosen. Don't you think that this adds to the quality of your research? Technology is there. So, when I was discussing with Srinivasa Raghavan, he was sharing his experience, and I asked him, Srinivasan, technology comes to a greater extent to help the scholars in his work. Okay, many are available free of cost today. At no cost he is getting it. Even the choice of journal for his publication, or correcting his articles. All these things, when everything is provided by technology, where is the contribution of the research scholar? What is the percentage of his contribution, and what is the percentage he deserves, in that PhD that he is awarded? But it is said, I know, but I just threw this question to Dr. Srinivasa Raghavan. He said, sir, he aptly answered me, sir, computer is not a substitute for human brain. In every place, in every occasion, scholars, academics, they specifically insist that the human element should be present there. PhD is only an experience that is given to scholars, for a rich future, actually, very big projects. But unfortunately, what I see is, when someone came to me for analyzing and interpreting their cytometrics data, having about 35,000 and odd, records, I recommended one man from IBM who was doing this analysis and interpretation as a part-time work. So I sent the candidate to Bangalore actually to meet that man. And I thought perhaps he may take about 5 or 6 months to complete the tabulation and interpretation and everything, graph and everything. Oh, he said perhaps, the fees might have been heavy. I do not know. I didn't go into that. But on the 15th day, the candidate came to me saying that, sir, that gentleman has just sent the total file running to about 94 pages with 60 tables and relevant, appropriate graph, everything, the scientometrics. He has downloaded everything without any instruction from me or the candidate. He has downloaded everything, verified the number of records for that required for the scientometrics. Perhaps a few records were lacking. The period was given already to him. Objectives were given. Hypotheses were given. And so he did everything, sent the total analyzed records in 15 days. I do not know whether it was ethical or unethical, I do not know. But many of the scholars are resorting to external help for analyzing the data, because all are not good at mathematics. For example, I am also very much weak in mathematics. But even then, there are help, technological assistance in doing all these things. So this only, I raised the question to Dr. Srinivas Raghavan. He said, it is all an experience actually. That is what this research, PhD research is giving to the scholars. We are preparing them actually. The PhD is not an end in itself, but it marks only the beginning of a research career, whether he is an academic or a scholar in a corporate company or something like that. So technology comes to the help or the rescue of the scholar to a very great extent. That gentleman who was in IBM, he talked to me after that. I just expressed my shocking surprise that he could do it within 15 days. He said, why? Because at least the statistical assistants available in Madurai, the experts, they take more than 6 months. Maybe they may have a queue in front of them, or even if they don't have a queue, they take not less than 6 months actually to analyze and interpret with the help of SPSS, Statistical Package for Social Sciences. The man, actually, he just sent these 94 pages in which he had expressed that the software package that he had used for analyzing this data of 35,000 records is RStudio of big data analytics. He said, so why this 35,000? Give me a few lakhs of records for analysis. I want only 15 days. Whatever be the quantum of data that is required to be analyzed. To that extent, technology has advanced, but unfortunately still scholars in universities are following the traditional methods. The goodness of fit actually, they check with the statistical package. Goodness of fit is there. Whether the sufficiency of data is fulfilled or not. Sometimes even with a few hundreds of data is enough for a scholar to just fulfill the requirements. But unfortunately, they are not fully exploiting the full potential of the technological assistance or the technological developments. Actually, they were writing the programs for everything till the end. But today you take this health level 7, that is this e-health care for total humanity. Every country, European countries, this Organization of European Countries for Economic Development, they are working on that. National Library of Medicine, United States or UK has a Ministry for Information Systems and Services. UK is a country, one of the very few countries that has a ministry for taking care of these information systems. And because, during 1999, Eugene Garfield gave a speculation that India and China were going to overtake UK and USA in scientific publications, quality and quantity. That has become true actually. China leads today and India is second only to China. That is what, they have their own web of knowledge database file in China they have created. And because, they were given an warning or alarm, this UK took necessary steps to step up its research output. And the result was Research Assessment Exercise, RAE, or Research Excellence evaluation. That is compulsory in UK, though the academic community who is fully objecting that these librarians cannot evaluate the research performance. But unfortunately or fortunately, librarians only are evaluating not only in UK or USA, but also in European countries, because they have actually well in advance. In 1963, they published the manual for evaluating research performance of scholars. Communist countries badly driven for funds, they could not afford to, just like that, allocate funds to scholars. And based on evaluation only, they began to allocate. They only provided the lead to all the other countries in the world, communist countries, East European communist countries, suffering from dearth of funds. They only introduced this research performance evaluation. Of course, peer reviewing process in journal periodical publications is one of the acclaimed best practices of assessing the quality of scholars, and the cytometrics and bibliometrics provide. Apart from this, now you have got the emergence of altmetrics and related fields, taking into account various very minute factors of scholars and academics for research evaluation, because this is required based on the competition, promotion, and other things required within the academic circles. One has to keep fit academically, based on their publications. Of course, research publications is one personification of quality research among the research world. Other than this, I have a few PowerPoint presentations for you to, bringing to your exposure some later additions. Research is ongoing, as Ranganathan said. Research is continuum. It is multifocal, and it is multidimensional. All these characteristics of research, he has explained, illustrated all these things with the help of a never-ending spiral in his 5 laws of library science, as well as prolegomena to library classification. In these 2 documents, you can clearly see the prophecy of Dr. S.R. Ranganathan. Because today, we talk about e-science and e-research, totally independent of, a virtual simulated environment for conducting research. Way back in 2003, it was Chemical Abstracts that introduced this virtual laboratory environment. All university librarians in Tamil Nadu were invited to the Anna University, where they demonstrated how taking 2 acids and mix them, and the structure of bond strength of the resulting compounds and all these things. Actually, we were wonderstruck. But today, virtual environments, for this genomics, generating genomic environment, laboratory environments, it has become very simple. Actually, the large amount of data that is generated in this biotechnology and genomic itself, they say that a single research project generates hundreds and hundreds of terabytes of information, while still our PhD scholars' research product in academic universities in India does not cross over a few GBs. That's all, I think, a few GBs, right? Am I right? So it goes on like that. So I can, I want to just, I have got, I think, 10 more minutes. I will take 7 or 8 minutes to just show some of the important PowerPoint slides I have prepared for your just perusal. Okay, Dr. Srinivasan, I'm going to go to the first slide. Yeah. Yes. The whole gamut of research is based on your reading practice. your regular reading of literature in your own subject field. Perhaps, there are two types of reading. One is browsing, the other one is scanning. You just go through what I would suggest, what you all should be experts currently in the field. Though, a lot of developments make me feel that I am outdated a little. Though I am just trying to update my knowledge through the internet and Google Scholar. But yet, research scholars in some developing countries, I don't want to make enemies here. So I am quoting the example from some other developing country, unnamed. Scholars do not read at all because, they get a topic from the guide. Perhaps the guide would have done research in a related topic there. And the research scholars under that guide also will follow suit by selecting a branch topic, working closer to the research methodologies, closer to the hypothesis formulation, and simply finish it in 3 years and submit it like that. But they do not exploit the advantages of the technology provided to them. So here I have bibliography is the foundation of any research project. This is what I have mentioned here in this slide. And InfoNet Care journals, they are handy. You can open anytime, download, do anything as you like, and collect information. This next step. I have, of course, defined research. Research is a scientific investigation aimed at discovering and applying new facts, techniques, and natural laws. At its heart is inquiry into the unknown, addressing questions not previously asked. Perhaps, apart from this conventional track of research, there is one, namely serendipity, accidental invention. Accidental. Penicillin was, invented like that. The famous popular example is Isaac Newton, who was under an apple tree. An apple fell on his face or stomach. Immediately raised the question, why should it come to the ground? So the gravitational force, he was able to find it. Perhaps, that is how it goes. And, when he only said that he was having a person who was having a scathing criticism against his writings, always pointing to, this sentence has been taken from that work, this sentence has been taken from that work. And he only gave the famous quotation. He answered and just shut the mouth of his critic by saying, you are not criticizing me, you are criticizing the scholars who contributed those sentences. You see, I could see to this far extent in my own field because I am standing on the shoulders of giant scientists in my field. You are not criticizing me, gentlemen. Well, that's what he said, that famous quotation. Okay? Well, so he in that indirectly meant the bibliography. Perhaps, during that century, bibliography was not so much popular and it was not easy to obtain one. So, of course, the journal was started during the beginning of the 17th century, 1605. Journal des Cavans from France and the Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society, London. Well, about 4 centuries have gone. Open access has become the trend. Public Library of Science has been bringing out a number of publications for both science and social sciences. And they are all open access journals. The directory of open access journals is day by day increasing, actually, facilitating a free access to scholars. Okay, well, next. The quality, all the planned and systematic actions implemented within the quality system and demonstrated as needed to provide adequate confidence that an entity will fulfill requirements for quality. This is taken from this International Standards Organization. I have given the specification also. But what I would say is, you want to bring in quality in your research, not necessary that you should take any extra effort other than, a thorough reading of literature in your own field. Update yourself every moment because technology, is coming to your rescue. Okay, and that's all, because it is 24/7. And the science community actually is starving for, here I have mentioned a few lacuna. Need an objective metrics for data intensive scalable computing, because you should know there is a concept coming up very fastly, this data curation, and Well, that comes under the umbrella of library and information science, fortunately. That should be included in the syllabus also. Data curation, e-science, e-research and all. I don't know whether they have included already or not. Well, Dr. Srinivasa Raghavan shall take a note of it. And the historians of science progress actually have identified 4 paradigm of science. We are actually passing through the 4th paradigm today. Well, I have given 4 paradigms of science. It is the work of actually Bill Gates' comment I have included. 1,000 years ago, science was empirical, describing natural phenomena. Last few hundred years, theoretical branch using models, generalizations. Last few decades, a computational branch simulating complex phenomena. Today, data exploration, e-science, synthesizing theory, experiment and computation with advanced data. Of course, nowadays, scholars submit their research report along with the data so that it can be, reenacted and reused. This is so today we are experiencing data exploration. Have we come out of the traditional research path or track? Well, it's a big question. It is time that we had switched over to the 4th paradigm of science, right? And the scientific process, interaction with every step of scientific process, data collection, data cleaning, data archiving, data organization, data publishing, mirroring, data distribution, and data curation. Scientific data landscape. The scientific data landscape is expanding rapidly in both scale and diversity. Interdisciplinary research has given way to multidisciplinary research actually. Now, how you will manage that converging point perhaps. A lot of literature, a lot of software packages for handling multidisciplinary research are available. Big data and their advanced analytics. Big data advanced analytics is direct outgrowth of our increasingly digital and virtual world. In particular, analytics is the process of generating understanding through mathematical analysis and visualization. The analyst is often faced with data having significant volume, velocity, variety, veracity, and visualization. Of course, number of articles available on the features of big data. If you just open, you can just learn. Research cycle, workflows I have given up. Of course, you are all, well versed and acquainted with the research cycle. Data communication layers. Why I am telling you this, specifically for the computer science scholars or social sciences scholars, working with computer software packages. Well, there are 7 layers, and the 7th layer actually is for data communication with worldwide network. You program and you launch your program with your software base up to this 3rd level, from the 4th level onwards, and specifically at the 7th layer, perhaps that layer facilitates the information communication technology of your package, specifically whatever be that, with the data networks. Of course, this health level 7, it is exploiting the features of level 7, layer 7. That is why this e-healthcare is fully exploiting the 7th layer for, providing mobile e-healthcare to the patient wherever he may be in any corner of the world. That facilitates the interoperability. The problem of interoperability has been removed by this RESTful application, they call it. RESTful application. You just open it and see. Everybody should have a basic knowledge of all these peripheral, computer technology development. Okay? Well, quantum technologies, next generation quantum technologies exploit quantum physics and associated phenomena at the atomic and subatomic scale, in particular quantum entanglement and superposition. These effects support significant technological advancements. They have used the word physics. It is not exclusively to physics, but to precision navigation and timing, sensing and imaging, communications and materials, data and information acquisition. You need a micro thesaurus of the terms involved, falling within the scope of your research. You need it because when a particular search term fails to bring dragnet the relevant information, you can try the alternative actually. That's why I told you in the beginning that you should have a write-up of the scope with a key string of set of terms, relevant keywords. It's a must before you start. That is the first step or a fundamental step, in your research. Okay. Information harvesting, caution must be exercised around words having more than one meaning. So help from the reference desk of the university libraries. Go to the university library. Go means traverse to the university library, contact the university librarian and try to have a training session on data literacy and information literacy, digital literacy. These three concepts, you have to, when I was a librarian, I had launched a package on information literacy. What should be the awareness the research scholars should have regarding the information search and retrieval, downloading and all those things. This is a must for you. Apart from your technical skills and knowledge about these technologies, you need this information literacy and digital literacy, which will be more helpful to you in your every step of your research, steps, process of report writing. Now, LaTeX I have already mentioned. Reference manager, free tools. Mendeley, Zotero, they are all free tools. I told you that, they have provided a tutorial also in Mendeley website itself, what are all the different features and how you can store information and classify the folders and how you can retrieve, how you can search and how you can go to format your report. Up to that, reference managers. Along with EndNote is a free, software because, this is free while there are licensed softwares. BibTeX is one, to mention, for which you have to pay, but EndNote is totally free, which is a connected or affiliated software required for you along with Mendeley. Okay. And then grammar and plagiarism checker. Mendeley is a free download. What you have to do is when you go to free software grammar checkers, don't just submit a paragraph, sentence by sentence. You need all the patience. Sentence by sentence, you have to give and check and use the software for 30 minutes, come out totally, and then go after the break like that, so that, this may not be used for somebody else's plagiarism. You have to safeguard yourself when you just float your information, collected data and information over the internet. And also Grammarly is also a free download for both grammar and plagiarism. But one thing I tell you, why human intervention is required. Though you subject your report to a check over the technological assistance or softwares available on the net. I had my own experience when one scholar brought his report for plagiarism check. He complained to me that he had come across one citation in one book, which he has quoted from some other original document. So this man went to the original document and then provided the bibliographical details, pages of occurrence, everything properly. The Grammarly plagiarism checker actually, pointed out that it was wrong, plagiarism. Go to the secondary document. I was shocked actually, but I could not rectify this defect because it reports that adds to the percentage of plagiarism like that. If it is going to wrongly indicate instead of the original source, the secondary source as original, that adds up to the percentage of plagiarism. So though you check your report with the plagiarism checker, you have to go through, you have to approach the librarian to check all these things. I think, librarian should be ready. We were offering a price tagged service, Biblio Clinical Report, we called it. We charged 200 rupees per report, and we took all the pains to go through, the occurrence of the bibliographical citation and certified actually, manually. So this is what we did. So human element is inevitable. Then references, I have given some. And now thank you for all your patience. Thanks are due to Dr. Srinivas Raghavan, Controller of Examinations, Bharatidasan University, Professor and Head Department of Library and Information Science, Bharatidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. Thanks to one in the audience. Well, actually, I'm proud of Dr. Srinivas Raghavan among all my students. So thank you very much. If any questions, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for blessing, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor.
Yes.
Audience are requested to ask your questions. This is a question time. Only 2 questions are expected actually due to the time constraint.
Yeah. My apologies, I took a little more time, I'm afraid.
Yes, sir.
It's right time only, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, now 12:04. Okay. So, any questions, please?
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Send on chat box also.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Sir, this is Ilangovan. I'm a student of MKU DLS in 2002. I am very happy to see you, sir. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
And after 18 years, I'm listening to your lecture. Really, a wonderful day I cannot forget. And today event, I thank to Collegrass College and as well as the organizing committee of the international webinar.
Thank you.
Sir, as you addressing this your session, I have created profile in Mendeley and Vidwan and everything. Sometime when we are Google it, I couldn't find my profile or something. Whether I should publish the article that I have to it will be visible, or once I create a profile, I can see it, sir.
Well, once you create a profile, Mendeley may have a backup, in your own blog, or, create a blog for you that is more relevant, for just launching you over the internet, launching you as an academic. That profile, will support Mendeley.
Okay, sir.
To become a member in Altmetrics also, institutional membership is offered. That, comparatively speaking, that is cheaper. You become a member in ResearchGate, become a member in LinkedIn, they are all totally free.
Yes, sir. I have done the same thing. I have member in like Arcade and Mendeley and Vidwan and ResearchGate as well.
Academic EDU only charges a nominal fee actually. Now this will project you over the internet.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So one more from participants, from other state scholars.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಉಂಡಂಗೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಉಂಡಂಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. If there is anyone in Kannada from Karnataka.
Actually, our professor used to speak several languages in the classroom also.
Yes.
Gururaj is coming from Dharwad.
Acha.
Gururaj.
Nice. Henry, Gururaj.
Sorry, sir, he was peeping in. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
He's a faculty of Karnataka University, Dharwad.
Acha. Nice. Karnataka is represented. I'm happy my alma mater.
Okay, sir, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, they will communicate to you, sir.
Acha, no problem. No issues. I enjoyed my session. I don't know whether you all enjoyed. Thank you very much, Raghavan, for this golden opportunity. There may be some could have been alumni of Madurai Kamaraj, or I would have met in conferences elsewhere. And thank you all very much for your patience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind of you. Have your blessings on your birthday.
Yes.
Very kind of you, sir. Thanks for staying with us and giving useful thoughts, and we enjoyed as usual. And definitely, I request to the students and alumni, and you please always approach Professor Srimurugan for all kind of help. Thank you, sir. Now it is over to Shanmunathan.
Thank you, sir.
Blessings to you all.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Sri Murugan. Thank you for your lengthy, informative speech and on research quality versus technology. So, on behalf of the Sri Lankan Library Information Science, we all thank you for, sir. And now the next session by Dr. T. Pradeepan, acting librarian, Uvavelasa University, Sri Lanka. Our senior assistant librarian, Mr. Kubeshan, he will introduce about Dr. Pradeepan.
My best wishes and blessings to all Sri Lankan library professionals.
Thank you, sir.
And let us remember Sri Kantalakshmi today. Let us remember Sri Kantalakshmi today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your student.
Yes.
Good afternoon, all of you. Dear Professor Srinivasa here. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I pleased to introduce our today speaker, Dr. Pradeepan, working as an acting librarian of Uvavelasa University, Sri Lanka, obtained his PhD in Library and Information Science from the University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. He has awarded Gangadhar Park Memorial Gold Medal from the University of Madras from his outstanding performance in MSc degree. He served as an editorial member and a reviewer from many scientific journals and external member for evaluating PhD theses in the many Indian universities. In 2019, he was awarded the Best Researcher Award for his outstanding contribution to LA's research and academic activities. Dr. T. Pradeepan published numerous research papers and doctorate papers in national and international conferences. He is an expert in the assessment of scientific performance and of researchers and research teams. Thank you to introduce Pradeepan.
Yes, thank you very much for your kind, nice introduction, Kubeshan. And yes, the Professor Srinivasa Raghavan sir.
Yes, sir.
And Dr. Balasubramanian sir and his colleagues who is running the library department at the University of Bharadasa University. And first of all, I would like to wish our Sri Murugan sir for celebrating his birthday. It is the birthday and a remarkable day to Sri Murugan sir. Happy birthday wishes, sir.
Thank you.
And it is really a timely topic, and I am honored to join you this afternoon to pay tribute to Madam late Mrs. Srikanta Lakshmi Arulanandam, who was the visionary librarian of the University of Jaffna, Sri Lanka. So before starting my session on the topic, I would like to say a few words about Madam Srikanta Lakshmi. She worked tirelessly to promote awareness among various groups and audiences of the importance of librarianship as a visionary librarian and information scientist. If I want to say in a sentence that she is really a born librarian, she is one of the luminaries of library science, documentation, and library classification. Madam late Mrs. Srikanta Lakshmi worked tirelessly to professionalize library education in Sri Lanka. Her contribution and activity level throughout her lifetime reflect a total selfless commitment to library science. She sacrificed her entire life for the betterment of the field of library and information science in many ways. I am really fortunate because I had the pleasure of meeting late Mrs. Srikant Lakshmi many times for last 10 years in different occasions and many locations. And I have learned a lot from her. She is such an inspiration to me, and she was also an inspiration to many young library professionals. With this small introduction, I would like to enter to this session. That is today and this week webinar organized by the Bharadas University in collaboration with the Holy Cross College, Trichy, Tamil Nadu, India, and with the University of Jaffna, especially the library and library team, the guidance and leadership of Chandrasekhar Madam. Thank you, sirs, and thank you, madam, for giving me this great opportunity to share my experience and exposure in the field, especially in the topic research publication in reputed journals and high impact journals. So with this topic, I would like to share my PowerPoint session, PowerPoint slides. Just a minute. So, let me know the slide is visible. Yes, Mr. Kubeshan or Mr. Shanmugadasan, let me know. Is the slide is visible?
Slide is not visible. Only your screen is visible. You open your slide.
Is it okay now, sir?
That is coming. Yeah.
It's coming.
Right, okay, fine.
You can put in slide.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Coming.
Okay.
So, I have delivering this today topic on research publication in reputed and impact journals. So today talk going to cover under this important subtitles that is importance of research and publications, key terminologies in relation to research, journal finder tools for selecting journals and journals for the publications. Finally, we can conclude the sessions with the discussion and questions. Importance of research and publication in higher education. Almost all of us are now working or engaging our duties, and we are working with research and academics activities. So as we know, the university of a country considered as apex body in leading many things. So universities of a country influencing all aspects of a country's future, its development, and place the country in the knowledge map of the world. So as we are the academic community, we have the important role in playing and running the higher education system of the world. there is an increasing interest in the evaluation of universities using some important aspects, particularly research and scientific activities of a department or faculties or individual academicians. World universities are transforming their policy from teaching center to research center. So as we know that those days, most of the universities were only with teaching, and few universities were engaged with research. But nowadays, almost all the universities of the world now sharing and playing in both teaching as well as research. In general, university academics engage in teaching, learning and research activity. So academic scholars or researchers receive recognition, promotion and funding for future research through their publications. There are ways for recognizing researchers and academicians and faculties, though publication and public impacts are the most accepted yardstick in the world for getting the kind of recognitions. So publication in a reputed impact journal is main and base to get recognition nationally or internationally. To cope with the modern challenges, an academician should be an outstanding researcher. This no one can deny it. If you want to get a good name, good reputation, good recognition, that each and every academician or faculty should be an outstanding researcher, as research and publication has been considered as well-accepted yardsticks. There are no teaching-only universities in the world now, as all faculties are required to carry out both research and teaching. So that's what today and this week webinar going to cover mainly the research and research related tools and accessing the research. Before these sessions, the professor sir conducted and delivered a good inputs to improve research part, and all of us have listened and we have learned a lot from him. So in addition to that, I'm going to add a few more things. So research output can be considered as valid and useful tool in the evaluation process of university performance. So that everyone should understand the individual performance of an academician of a faculty that will automatically contribute for the betterment of the university, and it will support for grading and upgrading the individual universities or colleges in different ways. That the particular university will get high recognition in the world by the ranking institutions of colleges and the universities of the world. So research and publication and its impacts are the main factor that each and every academician should focus on research and publication activities. The key terminologies that everyone should understand in relation to research and publications. What are they? So research publications, because the research publications and citations which are the kind of proxy to measure academicians and academic institute and higher education institute and colleges. So research publications in index journals. So what is the difference between index journals and non-index journal, and refereed journal and non-refereed journal, peer-reviewed journal and non-peer-reviewed journals? So there are different terminologies that we have been using in our academic life. So each and every one should understand the difference, and each and every one should understand the meaning of each and every words and terminologies. Research publications in Web of Science Index Journal. So that as we know, there are accepted indexing and abstracting sources in the world. Web of Science is one of the eminent sources recognized by world academics. And the second, another thing is the research publication in Scopus. Alternatively, the Scopus was introduced to indexing and abstracting purpose by Elsevier. and research publication in Nature and Science journals that everyone should know. And as we know, the Nature and Science journals are the world leading journal for getting recognition and citations. The citation word that everyone is focusing to increase our citations, so all of us are very much aware about citations. Anyway, we should know the meaning and why we need to use the citations and its importance. And H-index and other indices. The H-index was introduced in 2005 by Hertz for measuring individual scientists, and now it's became to utilize and use it for measuring research institutions and journals as well. And finally, we have to be careful about predatory journals and fake journals, as there are thousands of predatory and fake journals which have become a threat in the academic and research community. So, which are the key terminologies each and every academician and researcher should understand this. So how to identify quality journal? That my argument is this: all of us are doing research. It is mainly important for librarians, as librarians are dominating in selecting journals, and as we are the predominant scientist, as an information scientist, we are in a position to support for our faculties and academicians to guide them to select a good quality and impactful journal for publishing their research activities. Are you submitting your research to a trusted journal? It is a question here. Our findings, our research, really a good and value one. But when we are failing, where we are failing is when we select a journal that we are falling. So this has to be focused, this has to be considered in a right way. So most of the academics are doing a good and valuable research, but when they select a journal, they are not in a right way. So we have to be able to support them to select a good journal. So example, you have to publish your research finding in a right or good or trustworthy journal. So we have to be careful in identifying those good and quality journals. Otherwise, our valuable research will be published in a predatory or fake journals. There will be a question on this finding as well, though our findings are good and quality and acceptable. If we publish that findings in a predatory or vanity journals, there will be no recognition for our publications. This is very important, because there are thousands of fake journals and predatory journals, or fake publishers and predatory publishers, vanity journals and vanity publishers. So we have to be careful before we submit our articles, before we select a journal for publishing or submitting our journal articles. Experienced researchers know the authentic journals in their field, and also they know which are the most prestigious or high impact journal, which are the mid-rank journal, which are the poor journals. So there are different categories to identify journals. So we should aware about journals and its different categories, as we are living in the digital world and information age. There are different challenges for us. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic has created impact in all aspects of the world. Now we have been facing many challenges, although there have been many opportunities. Today the pandemic situation has created good opportunity to connect us digitally. So we have been connected via digital platform. That's why today I am delivering my lecture, and you all of are listening. And the morning I was able to learn a lot from a reputed professional. Yesterday and previous day also, there were many webinars and we have learned a lot. It is an opportunity during this pandemic situation has created many opportunities as well. No one can deny it. So, there are scholars already aware that fake and predatory vanity publishers and journals which exist. Publishing your research results is key to advancing your discipline and your career. But with so many journals in your field, how can you be sure that you are choosing a reputable, trustworthy, and high-impact journal? So I'm going to give some tips to confirm journal's credential and decide if it will help you research the right audience with your research and make an impact on your career. So here things and check and submit before you finalize a particular journal for publishing your valuable research findings, which is an important. Are you submitting your research to a trusted journal? Is it the right journal for your research work? It is a question. You have to ask this question before you select a journal. More research is being published worldwide that everyone will accept it. New journals are launched each week. There are thousands of journals emerging worldwide from all the countries of the world. Because the printing journal is not important, while there are online and e-versions are available in the world. It is easy for publishers to make available online journals. So with this opportunity, there are both pros and cons are there. So stories of publishers and malpractice and deceptions are also on the rise. It can be challenging to find up-to-date guidance when choosing where to publish. This everyone will accept. How can you be sure the journals you are considering is the right journal and trustworthy journal for publishing your valuable research? Reference this list for your chosen journal to check if it is trusted. Do you or your faculty know the journal? Suppose you may receive some emails from various publishers or from individuals. They may say, the particular journal has this much of impact, so please publish your research. But you have to pay only this much of dollars. Your publication will appear within a day or within 1 week. So will you believe, or will you submit, or will you publish your article? So ask your question before you submit. The particular journal which I am going to select to publish my article is trustworthy or impactful or trusted and which is not predatory. So that we have to make sure. Can you easily identify and contact the publishers? So please go through the website of particular journal site and make sure all the informations are available. Is the publisher name clearly displayed on the journal website? Because there are online journals, but there is no information for communication purpose. So then you can identify the particular journal has some problem in quality and transparency. So then you can conclude or you can refine your idea before you select the particular journal. Can you contact the publisher by telephone, email, and post? Some of the journals' websites have no telephone numbers or official email and a postal address for communication purpose. Then there's a question about that particular journal. Is the journal clear about the type of peer review it uses? What kind of peer review process the particular journal is using after submission of our research findings? So we have to make sure the type of peer review mechanism is available in that website. Are articles indexing services that you use? Are you sure about indexing sources? The two questions I wanted to say here. So there are journal publishers always say the journal of so and so indexed in XYZ and WZYZ and credits and so many names they will use, and they will say and they will claim the particular journal is indexed in many indexing sources. So as librarians, we should know what are the indexing and accepted indexing sources available in the world. Because all the academics are not aware that very few academics, those who are working in the higher education system or higher education sector knows about the indexing sources. But librarians are very much aware about indexing sources, that we can make aware all the academics and faculties towards publishing and towards selecting the good journals for publishing. Because indexing sources, the particular site and particular journal or predatory journal site will also say the particular journal is indexed in so and so source, but the particular source is not an indexing source. That we have to be careful. So simply I can say one example. So if anyone say SSRN, Social Science Research Network, is an indexing source, is it the right answer? Can we accept that? No, we cannot accept. SSRN is not an indexing source. So because there are journals, they are putting the particular journal is indexed in SSRN, and also they will say the research, it is the journal is indexed as ResearchGate. So what is the relevance between indexing and ResearchGate and SSRN? So that we have to be careful. Is it clear what fees will be charged? If it is an open access journal, that open access journal website should say this is the fee that will be charged for publishing. If that information is not clear, then there is a question, so we have to rethink before we submit. Reference this list, it is also the continuation of the slide. Do you recognize the editorial board? Have you heard of the editorial board members? Because we know affiliation of the editorial board members. So then we have to think, we have to decide there's a problem with the editorial board members. Do the editorial board mention the journal on their own website? So that we have to make sure again. Is the publisher a member of a recognized industry initiative? Those are listed here. Do they belong to the Committee on Publication Ethics? We can check it. If the journal is open access, is it listed in the directory of open access journal? So as Professor said, the directory of open access journal is one of the reputed open access platform in the world. At least we have to check at least the particular open access journal listed in directory of open access journal, though the particular site, the DOAJ, is not an indexing source. That we have to be careful. Directory of open access journal is not an indexing source. That is kind of directory listing accepted and recognized open access journal, and it brought all the most of the open access journal under one umbrella, and make use of for the betterment of the academic community and researcher community. If the journal is open access, does the publishers belong to the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association? That is another question that also we can check. So another thing is the journal impact factor. So there are different kinds of journal impact factor, but we should know what is the real impact factor, what is the authentic impact factor, and published by who. So impact factor, because there are journal creating some different impact factor, and finally they are claiming the particular journal has this much of impact factor. So we should not believe that, because there are fake impact factor created by many publishers and putting their own and cheating us in different ways and marketing in different ways to attract many academics and faculties to publish their articles. So we have to be careful. So the impact factor is a measure of the frequency with which the average article in a journal has been cited in a particular journal. It is used to measure the importance and rank of a journal by calculating the times its articles are cited. So I will tell the real example, how can we calculate an impact factor? How impact factor is calculated? So it is a very easy mechanism that I wanted to tell one example, how can we collect impact factor for a journal? So here I would like to say journal A, that I am naming a journal, journal naming.
Okay, it's okay கொடுக்கணும். அது டீடைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் ரைட் ஆனோ கன்ஃபார்ம் செய்யணும். ஓகே கொடுக்கணும். ஓகே கொடு. ஒரு நிமிஷம் எழுதிக்கோ. கன்ஃபார்ம் செய்யணும்.
Hello, there are some noise. Is it okay to listen? Right. So how can we calculate impact factor for a journal? So I would like to say one example that I am saying that journal A, that we have to calculate impact factor for particular journal for the year of 2020. So what I wanted to take, first I wanted to take all the public number of articles published by last 2 years, that is 2019 and 2018. How many journals articles published by particular A journals, that we have to take first. Then the citation received by particular journal in the year of 2019 and 2018, that we have to take again. So now we have taken number of articles published by particular journal A in 2018 and 19, and the citation received during the year 2018 and 19, which have been collected now. So for example, that I can say for last 2 years, the particular journal A received 100 citations. Altogether, the particular journal A published 10 articles. Now we have to divide all these citations received by particular journals by number of articles, that is 10. So now the particular journal's impact factor in the year of 2020 is 10. So which is the calculation mechanism for a journal. So in the case of journal impact factor, so accepted and authentic journal impact factor in the world is journal citation report by Clarivate Analytics. The formerly was under web of the Thomson Reuters. Then before that, it was under ISI, Institute of Scientific Information. The journal citation report is the authentic body for creating impact factor of a journal, and it is publishing the impact factor every year. Okay, so journal citation report is the authentic body, that everyone should understand. So alternatively, there are few more mechanisms arrived to calculate or measure the journals, that is the time of the journal that is now available, and source normalized impact. So that is also there. With this side, I am going to move to next slide. If the confirmed are not fake or predatory. There are few things you can check to make sure that the journals you are submitting your papers is not a fake one. So some of the important notes that you can take, you can follow to make sure the particular journal is not a fake one. The publisher's full contact information, including address, should not be provided on the journal's website, as I was telling you in the previous slides as well. The journal's editorial board should consist of recognized experts with full affiliation. The journal policy for author fee should be prominently displayed. This also, as I was telling you. The journal's peer review process should be clearly described on the journal site. The quality of articles published in the journal should be good. The journal should be indexed in a prominent and authentic sources that we can see what are the authentic sources available in the world to make sure the particular journal is indexed. As you know, so what are the world accepted and indexing sources? So of course that we can say Web of Science is one of the open access, one of the accepted indexing source in the world. the first indexing sources introduced by Eugene Garfield in the year of 1968. The indexing process was started actually in the year of 1968 by him. It was ISI, Institute of Scientific Information. Now it has been run by the Derivative Analytics. Formerly it was under the Web of Science. And the Web of Science has more than 20 journals. There are very good journals indexed, including Science and Nature. So it is the tool to explore the journals indexed in Web of Science. When you see, you want to get all the indexing detail, that you have to subscribe for Web of Science. But this is a site that you can check using ISSN number or the journal name. And you can put that into this search box. If you want to make sure the particular journal is indexed in Web of Science, suppose you are receiving a message via email and the particular publisher, they are claiming the particular journal is indexed, then you can take the particular journal ISSN number or the name of particular journal and you can put in this search box. If the journal is available in the site, that will appear the particular journal is indexed and the journal names and all other information will appear. So if that is not available here, you can come for the conclusion the particular journal publisher is something fake. You can come for the conclusion. Okay. So as we know, there are thousands of journals available under different sub databases like Science Citation Index Expanded and Arts and Humanities Citation Index and Social Science Citation Index. Recently, the Emerging Sources Citation Index. There are more than 20,000 journals already indexed. If I want to say one more thing, sir, there are 7 journals actually indexed in Web of Science. Out of that, in Web of Science from Sri Lanka, while there are more than 200 journals indexed in Web of Science from India. Out of the 7 journals indexed from Sri Lanka, only 1 journal is actually indexed in Science Citation Index. All of the journals are indexed in Emerging Sources Citation Index in Web of Science. So, India, there are more than 200 Indian journals already indexed in Web of Science. That is that all of us should aware. Then we can select many journals. That as we know, there are lists recognized by UGC of India for selecting journals. But there's a question about that quality, and there's a question about its relevancy and authenticity. All the journals listed by UGC, which are not authentic, which are not indexed in Web of Science. Most of the journals are there, but there are journals which are not indexed in these sources. So always it is better, I recommend you all to make sure before you submit your valuable research findings, please select a right and trustworthy and indexed and impactful journal using some authentic sources like Web of Science. And following that, the Scopus. The Scopus was established by the Elsevier publication publisher with the purpose of promoting the quality of a journal by indexing using a different authentic mechanism, alternatively to Web of Science. This is a site, the Scimago is a site available freely and available online to make sure and to check the authenticity of journals. So this is a good journal and it covers nearly more than 36,000 journals from approximately more than 11,000 publishers in the world. So this source will support to make sure even the particular journal is indexed even in Web of Science. That options is available. We have to go through the site, and the journal ranking and country ranking is there. If you click on the journal ranking, you will have option to select subject of a journal, and finally you can check how many journals listed and indexed in Web of Science and how many journals indexed in Scopus from Sri Lanka and India or other countries. So based on that, you can come for the conclusions that particular journals are indexed. But anyway, one thing I wanted to say, the SCImago is powered by Scopus, but we should understand all the journals which covered by SCImago are not an authentic, because since there are some misleading factors. That I can say one example. The last week I went through some news items that one of the researcher blame on Scopus regarding its relevancy. That one country publishes a journal, but there are predatory things found by a researcher. Then the particular researcher has requested the Scopus authority. Then they replied there are some mistakes. Then they discontinue the particular journals. Likewise, another incident came recently in recognizing researchers, that particular researchers are already claimed using the site, the particular journal is indexed and so on so. But the particular journal indexed in 2018 and 19, but after that it has discontinued from Scopus. Okay, so that was the reason. We have to be careful that even that when we use the SCImago, we have to be careful about the relevancy and authenticity, because the SCImago is getting all the data from Scopus after 1 year or end of the year. In between, if anything happens or discontinuation of particular journal, we cannot make sure the particular journal is indexed in Scopus. So that with that concern, we can use this site as well for measuring or finding a good journals using this site. So apart from that, there are different tools available as journal finder tools. So this is a site that is the journal guide. It's a free tool that helps researchers to evaluate scholarly journals. So this will support us to select a particular journal for our research finding, which are suitable to select particular journal from different publishers. That we can write abstract and we can put our research articles. Then it will suggest us what is the most suitable journal to select. So that is one way to select good journals. So again, another site is there, that is SJ Finder, is a free tool that helps researchers to evaluate scholarly journals, and also it discovers journals within your field of study, and you can browse over 30,000 authentic journals using this site with powerful search features based on subject. Another site, it is supporting us to find an open access journal. It is Enago Open Access Journal Finder enables you to find quality open access journals that are pre-vetted to protect you from predatory publishers. So it is a main concern what we are talking now, that we have to escape from predatory publishers. It is a good site to find open access journal. This is free journal finder, solves common issues on predatory journals and journal authenticity and articles processing fees by utilizing a validated journal index provided by the Directory of Open Access Journal. So finally, for summarizing this, that there are different kinds of journal finder tools in apart from the important tools what we have already explained and listened. That is Aiden's Journal Selector. Aiden's is an editing service. However, it does provide a journal selection tool which searches over 28,000 journals and 12,000 abstracts to find the journal that's right for you. But we need subscription if we want to use this site. The another thing is available freely, that is Elsevier Journal Finder. So as we know, most of the leading and reputed publishers, they have their own platform to select suitable journals for publishing our valuable research finding based on our coverage. Just we have to give only the abstract and the key terminologies which we are using in our research papers. The particular journals finder will suggest the particular journal is very relevant to publish your research findings. So likewise, EndNote manuscript matcher. But if you want to use, the subscription is must. But anyway, that is also one of the good platform to use. Springer Journal Suggester, that is support us to select the journal that suit your research best from over 2,600 Springer publications. There are more than 2,500 journals available and published by the Springer, one of the best publishers in the world. It has their own site to select a journal, that is Springer Journal Suggester. And Wiley Journal Finder is also there, that is also available freely online, so that we can use for finding journals, and which is the most suitable journal to publish my research finding. So Wiley Journal Finder is also one of the alternative mechanism when we select a journal from Wiley. So another site is Ulrich Web. As you know, Ulrich is world recognized directory for serial publications. It is an easy to search source of detailed information on more than 300,000 periodicals, also serials of all types. It includes academic and scholarly journals, e-journals, and peer-reviewed titles, popular magazines, newspaper, newsletters, and more. It covers more than 900 subject areas, but we have to subscribe. Those who have subscription for Ulrich Web, it is a good and very authentic tool to find the good and impact journals and relevant journal for publishing our research. So with this end, I would like to conclude my presentation and delivery on the topic, and it is time to ask questions. I think you may ask many questions. I will be able to clarify all these questions, I hope. Again, I would like to thank the organizers, especially Professor Srinivasa Raghavan sir and Dr. Balasubramani sir and Dr. Kalpana Chandrasekhar madam and all colleagues who have tirelessly organized this important and timely webinar. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Mr. Shanmugadasan. Yes, over to you for further discussion and for question and answer sessions. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pradhiban, for timely concluding your session and useful inputs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pradhiban.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, Velmurugan.
Thank you, Dr. Pradhiban. It's time for questions. So, from the audience, two questions are expected. So, anyone, you can ask the questions.
Yeah, Velmurugan.
Sir, excellent presentation, sir. As a research scholar, I'm troubling about publication, sir, because I have already published a journal, but central government and state government announced that UGC care journal, like etc. comes. Which standard journal? I don't know.
Questions?
How I
Yes.
Problem is
That as I was telling you clearly, that if you select journals even from Web of Science or Scopus, there will be no issue at all.
Okay, sir.
Before we publish our article, always better, there will be no issue if we select any journals from
Thank you.
Scopus and the Web of Science databases, or the journals which are published by the leading publishers like Wiley, Springer, and Emerald, like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, in case if I publish this journal, again government must be change any order, sir. This is not a standard journal. Another some issue come definitely, sir. Research scholar alert.
Hello.
Trouble, sir.
Yeah, with the permission of Pradiban, I'll also answer the question. Mr. Velmurugan, actually standard, it should be of consistent. We cannot say that one particular channel is always standard for 100 years. So, that's what that indexing, what SciMago or the journal finder databases and this Web of Science, Scopus, even CARE is also one such a kind of initiative. So, there are they sit together and they incorporate. First of all, you have to see the journals belong to your subject discipline. And sometimes it may take time also. Journal article publishing, what nowadays you people are thinking within a week or within 2 weeks or within 3 weeks like that. And one article, at least you have to spend a month time. Of course, as Srimurugan sir said, a lot of technologies, analytical tools that will give you everything in a very short span of time. But at least you need to spend 1 month time and find a quality journal. Sometimes journals, they may delay because of their demand. So you can choose among that index journals, less demand journal, and you publish. Sometimes it may be very good outbreaking research, but unless otherwise you are communicating to the right journal, it will not get published. So a lot of factors are involved, and you consult with the librarians nearby and your guide and your colleagues also. Then you can send it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mohan Kumar.
Sir, what is the difference between H index and the journal impact factor, sir? Kindly clarify.
Journal impact factor. What is the difference between journal impact factor and H index?
Yes, sir.
The journal impact factor actually defined particularly to rank and measure the impact of journal. But H index was introduced with the purpose of measuring or evaluating a particular scientist. That is the major deviation, major difference. The H was introduced H index in 2005 with the purpose of measuring individual scientists. But when we see the journal impact factor, that particularly introduced with the purpose of ranking and measuring and evaluating journals. So this is the major difference between that. But anyway, H index also now became a useful tool to measure the journals as well. But anyway, high authenticity that we have to give mainly journal impact factor. That is a JCR, journal impact factor. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pradiban.
Thank you. Welcome.
Any more questions?
From Sri Lankan participants?
I'm Divya from Jaffna University. That it was a nice presentation and informative presentation, sir. Then I have one question. Then if it is a journals index with that clarivate analysis, it says Web of Science only, they can claim it as an impact factor. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then other journals who are not indexed with the Web of Science also, in their home pages, they are displaying the impact factor is this much or something.
Yes,
then
that we can consider as a kind of fake impact factor, because that as I was telling you very clearly, that there are different publishers always claiming the particular journal has impact factor of 10 or 5 or like that. So if you are very clear about this journal impact factor, who is the most authentic body in providing that impact factor, there will be no issue. Otherwise, there will be an issue that has been happening in our country as well. most of the and lecturers they are publishing and they are believing whenever they are getting emails that particular email says it has so impact factor, so that we can avoid by make them aware.
But we can't simply ignore it now. Then if I say it is a predatory journal or it's a fake journal, but it can be a standard one, but they are publishing
better. It is always better because even if it is in Sri Lanka is considered as index journal when we publish articles only in Web of Science. So as you know this very clearly.
Yeah.
So better if the journal is not indexed in Web of Science as per the concern of the University Grant Commission of Sri Lanka, we have to avoid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can publish for make. We cannot claim based on the UGC circular of Sri Lanka. That is the concern. Even that UGC circular has not recognized even Scopus in Sri Lanka. That is also there.
Then we can't predict sure no that the those listed journal, all the journals are that it's not the predatory journal. It may be some of them.
Yes. For example, I can say that in Sri Lanka that there is a platform, online platform called Sri Lanka Journal Online. So there are 87 journals available under the National Science Foundation. It is one of the projects started by INASC. But anyway, there are only 7 journals indexed in Web of Science for Scopus out of that 87. But there are high quality journals available under this Sri Lanka Journal Online. We cannot say that all those journals are predatory or accepted one. That is what we have to do. Each and every editorial member of particular journal should try for indexing of particular journals. Better to start the process to getting indexed in databases like Scopus or Web of Science. That is the best option. And the one more thing that we can say, at least if it is a open access journal, almost all of us, our journals are 87 journals are open access journal. So I consider to send it for a directive of open access journal. That is also has some recognition because they are also evaluating before listing journal into the open access journal. So at least we have to go for that level. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let me, Divya, you asked a good question. An impact factor, of course, we can also claim, but that impact factor measurement based on that 2 years of citations divided by the number of articles, including editorial published in that journal, it is corporate to Eugene Garfield, that earlier Web of Science, the Institution of Information Science, now it is Clarivate Analytics. But you can also have some journal they are putting that, but you have to give acknowledgement. You have to give citation. I am running a journal. As Pradeepan said, there are very good journals in India, Sri Lanka, and many other countries which is not included in Scopus or Web of Science. But the editorial board is good. The language of that articles are very good, and they will have a very stringent editorial process, and they may not charge money and all. So the editorial members also very so keen, and they are really involving it. That and all is there. But that is what there is a UGC for every country, the Higher Education Council. They sit together with the eminent personalities and subject experts and academicians. They time to time they will just try. When more number of publications, when more number of research, when more number of students are coming, it is not so easy to have a control. So that is what the role of librarians also. Yesterday, Sivaswaran sir was telling, and we can also make it. So the impact factor they can put actually, nothing wrong in that, but they are using that measurement. That is for 2 years, and sometimes it may be for 3 years, for 5 years. But recently, only 5 years back, they opposed that you are not supposed to use that impact factor like that. But there is a concept actually. That concept, that idea, that methodology anybody can use. But when you are using, there is one Saimejo journal ranking they are giving, article influence like that. So in that way, Scopus impact like that, Bharadas University means we can have our own impact. So once you enlist all the citations for the past 2 years of your journal, what you are running from Jaffna News Library,
and divided by the articles which you are included in that 8 issues or 16 issues, whatever may be that journal. So that is impact factor. 1,000 articles, 1,000 citations received by 100 articles, 100 write-up. So that means impact factor is 10 for the previous 2 years. That is what is the measurement. So that people can use actually, nothing wrong in it. But you have to go and check it up. Where the journal is claiming, they have to give the evidence also. That evidence should be available in their website. Who are all cited? This is what Web of Science is giving cited references. It will give cited references, all cited references. You can go and check whether Pradhiban cited, whether Dr. Srinivas Ravan cited, whether Dr. Selvi cited, like that. So that reference, if it is available in that particular journal, then you can say it's a right journal, like that. So that is what.
Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, you can, yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, bro.
Please, Sanmukha sir, please unmute your audio.
Yes, I request Sanmadas to propose vote of thanks.
Yeah. Okay. I I thank you all. I thank you all. And today's two speakers, Professor Sri Murugan, Professor and Head, former Department of Library Science, Mahavirar Kamaraj University, for his he has allocated his time and he has given informative speech. And Dr. T. Pradhiban is also has given a lengthy speech on research publications in world recognized journals. So I thank you all, and I thank Professor and head of that Library Information Science, Bharatidasan University, Professor Srinivas Raghvan sir, and Dr. And Professor Bala sir, and all the audience. And I thank our convener, Dr. Mrs. Kalpana Sandasekhar, and all the supportive and our technical support, technically supported to our functions, so that is organizing this webinar. Dr. A. Sendamil Chelvi, Professor and Head, Department of Library Science, and Mrs. T. Janan, Senior Assistant Librarian, University of Jaffna, and all organizing committee members of the Bharatidasan University, Trichy, and from University of Jaffna. So I thank you all once again. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you very much, Shanmunadam.
Thank you.
Today's program went very well, and we will join tomorrow. Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Okay,
My sincere gratitude to all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar. Thanks, Dr. Selvi. We can conclude.
Okay. On behalf of organizing committee, I would like to thank moderator, presenter, and speaker and participants. Tomorrow we have 2 more sessions. The sessions will start at sharply 11 a.m. So kindly join before 10 minutes before. The first session is handled by Dr. Navanithan. The second session handled by Dr. Vatmenal. So dear participants, join before 10 minutes before you can join the session. Kindly mute your audio and video in the kindly mute your audio and video, and do not present the screen do not present the screen or start the screen. Okay, we will see you on tomorrow 10:50 a.m. Thank you all.
Thanks, Ma. Thanks, Dr. Bala.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.